In the ongoing series on lectures on human resource management, we are learning about training and development as an important function of human resource management. So friends, in the previous lecture, we discussed about the various methods of training that are undertaken by organizations these days, and we mainly learnt about two types of methods. Broadly, they are divided into on the job training and off the job training, and there are a number of other methods that come under the category of on the job. So on the job means like that you are being trained while you are working at the workplace itself, and off the job training means that you have to undertake the training at some other place apart from the workplace. Now both these methods they have their own advantages and disadvantages, and it is up to the organization to decide which method they would like to have for their employees, depending upon their budgets, the type of employees that they need to train on. So there are pros and cons for both the methods, and it is on the organization to decide which best method they should undertake. So friends, moving further in the same category of training and development, today we are going to learn about two very important aspects of training. And when I say very important, I would also like to emphasize that its importance has come more into foreplay because of the past 2 years when we experienced the COVID pandemic. So we are going to learn about e-learning and blended learning today. So during the pandemic, we witnessed that organizations swiftly moved towards work from home. So people were actually working from their homes and they were not going to their workplaces anymore. But the training has to be undertaken at every point of time. So how do you manage training people or upskilling your people when they are working from home? So that's where e-learning and blended learning came into play. So what is e-learning? E-learning actually means the delivery of a learning program by electronic means, and it involves use of a computer or any other electronic device to provide training or any other educational material. It is an internet-enabled learning in a virtual world where technology merges with human creativity. So it is not entirely the internet, but obviously the human creativity is also involved when we talk of e-learning, and it accelerates and leverages the rapid development and application of knowledge. Now what does it cover? It covers a wide set of applications and processes like the web-based learning, computer-based learning, virtual classrooms and digital collaboration. So all these terms, if you hear all these terms, be it web-based learning or computer-aided learning, virtual classrooms, they all come under the category of e-learning. Then it basically includes the delivery of any content, any learning content via the internet or even intranet, audio and video tapes, satellite broadcast and interactive TV. So like currently you are watching my telecast on a TV, that is again a type of e-learning. Or even if you watch this video on a YouTube channel, that is again e-learning. So we are basically using the communication technology. So moving to the next point, the communication technology, it enables the use of conference calls, video conferencing, internet chats, content loaded websites, even emails, discussion forums and collaborative software. All these come under the category of e-learning or e-training. Now if we talk of the two broad categories into which e-learning can be differentiated, so we can say that e-learning can be classified into two types of learnings. One is the synchronous learning and the other is asynchronous learning. So these are two terminologies that are used in context to e-learning. Now let's understand what is the difference and what are their relative advantages and disadvantages. So the terminology to describe how and when the learning and teaching takes place. So it differentiates into synchronous and asynchronous. So in synchronous approach, the learning and teaching takes place in real time, that is at the same time, even though the trainer and learners, they are physically separated from each other. So there is a place shift. So the learner might be at one point of a country and the trainer would be at some other place, but they are learning and the trainer is teaching at real time. So for example, I am delivering this lecture and you are attending this lecture live and you can interact with me, then that becomes a synchronous learning. So here the trainer delivers a live, but it is not a pre-recorded lecture, and the learners spread across different geographies will be listening to or watching the same. They are interacting with the trainer and other learners also instantly with the help of communication technologies like conference calls are there, the World Wide Web or the internet, and video conferencing, etc. So that is we call as synchronous learning. So what are the advantages of synchronous approach? So the most important advantage or the benefit of this kind of an approach is that you can have learning from anywhere without traveling to a farther distance to reach a training center. So you don't have to go to any particular facility, any training institute, or travel a lot to undergo this type of training. You are just sitting at the convenience or comfort of your home and you are attending a live lecture. And secondly, there is the convenience of interacting with the trainer and other learners instantly. So if you have any query, if you have any doubt in your mind while you are being trained, you can easily interact with the trainer, ask your questions, and more importantly, you can also interact with the other learners who are present in the session. So that makes it very convenient. But if there are advantages, there are certain disadvantages also. So as of the disadvantages of synchronous learning are concerned, the learner has to find time to attend classes at appointed time only. So for example, if I have to take a session, I give you the time of maybe say 5 o'clock. Now you have to have a free time at that point of time because they are live lectures. They are not recorded lectures that you can maybe see or watch that lecture at any point of time. So if my lecture is to be taken at 5 p.m., you have to be free at 5 p.m. So without having an option to learn whenever he or she wants or finds time. So it is not that whenever you are free, I will be available. It's the other way around. So whenever the trainer is delivering the lecture, you have to be present at that point of time only. So that was of synchronous learning. Now let's understand what is asynchronous learning. So in asynchronous approach, the learning takes place with time delay or time shift, as well as the trainer and learner are physically separated from each other. So in the synchronous learning, there was only place shift, but there was no time shift because it was real time. But in asynchronous, it is both. It is time shift as well as place shift. Now this includes self-paced courses taken via the internet or CD-ROM or video taped classes, stored audio video web presentations, recorded audio tapes, and reading email messages. So if you watch any recorded lecture on the YouTube, that becomes asynchronous learning, and that is not real time because it is a pre-recorded lecture that is delivered or that is available at the internet on YouTube. So you can just go through the YouTube, you can search for any lecture that you want to learn or any topic that you want to learn, and then you can learn it, watch that video, and that will again include self-paced learning. If you are not clear or if you have just half an hour time, so you can just go through it for half an hour and you can maybe watch the next part of the video whenever you are free. So that is how asynchronous helps the learners. Now the advantages: the learner can learn from any place of his choice and most importantly at a time of his own convenience. It is not that whenever the trainer is giving the lecture only the learner has to attend that time only, but here you have the advantage to learn it at your pace and at the time of your own choice. Now the cost of asynchronous learning is quite low and the learning material is prepared, corrected and validated in advance for quality and consistency. So that is again an advantage or a benefit of asynchronous learning, because it is a more structured and more validated material as far as the quality and consistency of the content of the training course is concerned. Now talking of the disadvantages of asynchronous learning, the greatest disadvantage of it is that there is no scope for an instant question answer session and also listening to other perspectives. Now in the synchronous learning we learned that the audience or the trainees can interact with the trainer, and if they have any question in their mind they can ask the trainer then and there. So their queries can be removed, their problems can be solved then and there. But in asynchronous learning there is a time shift, so the trainee cannot directly question the trainer, and also what other learners are learning and what are their perspectives, that also is missing in asynchronous learning. So learning here is mainly by self-perception without having an instant opportunity to question or listen to others. So here you are unable to question other people or even the trainer, and also you have the disadvantage of not listening to what others feel about that particular topic or that particular aspect of training. Then another disadvantage of asynchronous learning is that there is absence of human interaction, because in synchronous learning we learned that it is real time interaction. So trainer and trainee can interact with each other, but in asynchronous learning, since it is a pre-recorded lecture, you do not interact, you cannot interact with the trainer, and this lack of human interaction might cause boredom to learners. So that effectiveness of a training we can say is missing or can be missing in asynchronous type of learning, especially for people who are who learn more by interacting and asking questions, who are more inquisitive in nature, who want to ask questions and learn from the trainer and the people around. So that kind of learning is missing if we talk of asynchronous learning. Now moving further, let's learn about the significance of e-learning. So what is the significance of e-learning in today's training and development industry? So first and foremost, it is a learner-friendly technology. So here the advantage is definitely for the learner. So the continuous efforts of technology giants the world over have brought in user-friendly learning. So these technologies are at affordable prices which were unheard in the past. So in the past they were more costly, but now we can say these technologies are at a very affordable price. So most of the organizations are switching to e-learning technologies or e-learning modules. So second significance is networked environment. The workplaces today as well as even our homes, they are being networked with sophisticated communication devices, thereby paving the way for information from anywhere and at any time. So earlier the internet used to be at the workplaces only, but now even our homes we have internet facilities. So we can have e-learning at the comfort of our home also. So that is again a very important significance of e-learning. So moving further, another significance is that today we all know that there are geographically distributed workforce. So the workforce in 21st century is not no longer confined to a particular geographical location. So we have seen it in the pandemic phase that people were working from home and they were located, or they were not only confined to their offices only, they were distributed throughout the country. So the necessities of business have forced even members of work teams to get themselves distributed across the globe and still work together for accomplishing the team goals. So thus, when employees are dispersed across multiple geographies, it will be difficult, uneconomical and impractical to call them for classroom training. So when employees are obviously working at various geographical distributed across the country or even abroad, so for MNCs also we can say that. So it is very difficult and it won't be very economical to bring them to one point at one place and give them training. So this issue can be solved easily by delivering learning content to workplaces of respective employees with the help of e-learning solutions. So e-learning solutions can save a lot of time and energy as far as bringing in people from different geographies are concerned. Then another significance of e-learning is the compressed business life cycles. So we all know that the business and product life cycles have compressed substantially in the ever changing world of business. So this means that the technology is changing at a very fast pace, products are changing at a very fast pace, and we all know that the environment itself has become so volatile that change has to be undertaken every 6 months and at times every 2 months, 3 months. So keeping these things in mind, it is not possible for organizations to send their employees for training. For example, Intel, the world's largest computer chip maker, it releases new processors at every 6 months interval. So that is why we are saying that the business life cycles have compressed. So thus, when business cycles are shortened, the organizations cannot afford to send their employees away from work for weeks or months to undergo any type of training or classroom training. So under such circumstances also, the organizations, they want employees to learn and perform simultaneously from day one by deploying e-learning solutions. So we certainly want our employees to be upskilled, but at the same time we cannot afford to send them away from their workplace. So here e-learning can come into help, or e-learning can help organizations who have such short business life cycles. Then it provides instant learning solutions. So the new forms of work organizations have created lonely workplaces wherein there are not enough experts to guide the junior employees for development of their knowledge and skills. So at times it is seen that the work is so much that the seniors might not have that much of time to train their junior employees. So in that case also we can say that e-learning solutions can easily bridge this gap by providing instant information to such distributed workforce anywhere and anytime, thereby creating an instant expertise. So if, for example, I have to undergo a certain project and I need to upskill myself on certain skills, so I will not wait for another say 15 or 20 days for my senior to get free and train me on that. I can just search it on Google or YouTube or Udemy, or there are n number of platforms, such e-learning platforms are there, or even the organizations can themselves develop such e-learning modules for their employees. So I will just go back home, search for these courses, and I can instantly learn those skills. and by the time that project starts, I have the basic knowledge, or I am expert in that particular thing that I have to undertake. So that creates an instant learning solution. I don't have to wait for any trainer to get free or my senior to get free and then train me. I can instantly learn through the internet. But then there is high cost of traditional training methods. So since business processes and products are constantly changing, there is need for retraining people very often. So the traditional classroom training is quite expensive, as we discussed in the previous lecture also, because it includes the cost of bringing people from different locations together, their boarding, their lodging, and not only people, at times you have to invite a number of trainers also, and they can charge huge amount to the organization. So here again the e-learning can help by carrying and delivering the training program right at the place of learner, rather than forcing him to travel to a distant learning session center. So here you can save on the time, the energy, the efforts and the money of sending a trainer and the trainee to a particular center. So you can just sit back at home or even at the workplace, whenever you get time you can easily learn, and that reduces the cost of training. Then there are challenges of work-life balance. So we all know that there is a constant work pressure, stress and burnout, imbalance in personal lives and professional lives. So especially in the IT sector we have seen that there are lot of work pressure is there. So under these circumstances it is practically impossible to expect employees to stay longer at work for any training sessions, because your work cannot be disrupted, but you have to be upskilled also. So you have to manage your work also and your life also. So what to do? So e-learning solutions can here again help employees by delivering learning content at home, so that the employees can easily balance their personal lives and learn whenever, wherever they are comfortable. So that can help employees maintain a good work-life balance. So moving further, let's learn about the e-learning program process. So how does the program process? So the first step is the needs identification. So friends, the idea of introducing e-learning should start with needs identification. What is the need and when is the need? So needs identification will have to look at the business case for investment in e-learning, as well as the need and comfort level of employees with specific reference to e-learning. The second step in the process is design the program. Now once the management knows the need and it accepts the proposal for investment, training managers have to look for designing appropriate programs that are based on the nature of learning and characteristics of the learners. So characteristics of learners are also very important before you design any program, because you have to take care how much technology savvy your learners are. If they are not very tech savvy, you will have to make easy modules that they are comfortable learning it through e-learning also. So designers must examine whether it should be a totally e-learning approach or it should be blended with other traditional methods of training, keeping in mind again the characteristics of learners. So we will be taking up blended learning in the next part of the lecture. So as for now, the trainer, they must be aware of who your audience is and how much technology they know, so that they can easily navigate your training module. Then third aspect is the infrastructure. So the training managers have to create e-learning infrastructure like computers, the broadband connectivity, video conferencing and other devices. So other functionaries like finance managers, facility managers and technology managers, they also have to be involved at this stage, because of the costs to be incurred, facilities to be developed and specifications are also to be determined. So for having an e-learning thing in your organization, you also need to have an infrastructure. That is what we are talking of. And next step is launching of your e-learning module. So once all development work is completed, it is now time for launching your e-learning program. So you can always begin with a pilot program or a short program, so that you can easily test the suitability and understand the bottlenecks. So you can quickly get to understand the loopholes, or what are the areas that you can change or improve or transform. You can take feedback from your employees, that were they comfortable understanding, were they comfortable using the internet and using the computer as far as e-learning is concerned. So you can always try and improve upon this. So once the programs they pass through successfully at the pilot stage, you can then launch a full scale program and measure the periodical progress of learners, and then you can finally evaluate the program outcomes against the program goals. So we all know that there are goals, and then you measure what your outcomes have been, and then if there are certain gaps between what your goal was and what the outcome was, then you can make the necessary changes. So what are the advantages of e-learning? Well, as we have already discussed, it reduces cost and saves revenue. Learning time can be reduced at an average of 40 to 60%. So it takes lesser time to understand. Then it increases the retention and application to job. Then it is consistent delivery of content and self-paced e-learning. So it is helpful for the learners. At the same time, it is also helpful for the trainers. So expert knowledge is dispersed with good e-learning. Then there is on-demand availability. It is self-paced for slow or quick learners. It is up to you. If you are a slow learner, you can take a longer period of time. If you are a quick learner, you can just easily, quickly grab whatever is being taught. Then the interactivity of e-learning, it engages the users, and there is confidence that there is quick reference materials are also available. So if you do not understand something, there is certain reference material that you can refer to later on, and you can have a better understanding of that topic. So friends, this was about the advantages of e-learning and what e-learning is and what are the various types of e-learning. So we will continue with some aspects of e-learning, and then we will also learn about blended learning in the next lecture. Thank you.